Good morning. So, I was going to type all this, but I'm not really good at like shortening long speeches, so I decided to do a little video instead. Man, today was such a good service, and I'll tell you why it was such a good service, because it is so relevant to all people of all faiths, of all walks of life, and is just a good word. So, backstory. My church is currently doing like a very long process through Exodus. We're going through the book of Exodus. We started, I think we're like in our 4th or 5th week now, and we're going all the way to the end of the year. So it's like a 5-month, 4-month, whatever process. So I'm going to try to be quick about it. But basically today we were talking about after the Red Sea parted and the Israelites are on the other side in the desert, and you know God has promised them deliverance, and now they're in the desert. So, and they spend 40 years in the desert, and we talked about so they get there and bam, they don't have food and they don't have water and they don't have all these provisions and stuff that even in their slavery they at least had their daily needs met. And, they're complaining and they're whining and they're grumbling and they're upset about it and they're irritated and they're like, man, I'd rather just go back to my slavery because at least I get food. And God ends up providing these provisions as the story goes along. But, there one huge phrase that was said this morning that really, really spoke leaps and bounds to me. And we kind of ask ourselves, well, why did God keep them in the desert for 40 years and make them struggle? And the pastor today said this little phrase who said, you can take the man out of slavery in a moment, but you can't take the slavery, or it takes a lifetime to take the slavery out of the man. Whoa, what does that mean? It means a whole lot. What it's talking about there is okay, yeah, we parted the Red Sea, we went out, bam. You're not slaves anymore. But how you've grown up and the way you are and the things that you do and the things that you've been taught and the things you've been fed your whole life, those are your slaveries, if you will, and you're bound to those things. And you can't just wake up one day and say oh, I'm not going to be a slave to alcohol anymore. I'm not going to be a slave to food anymore. I'm not going to be a slave to my spouse anymore, codependency, or whatever your slavery is. You don't just get to wake up one day and be like, oh, well, I mastered that, I'm going to move on with my life. It's a process. It's a time of desert when you're stripped of everything, and you've got to start over with those simple basic things and appreciating those simple basic things of food and water and shelter and having those needs met. So something that kind of came to me right before I was doing this video, I was sort of placing all this stuff in my mind and in thought. So my takeaway from that was, your desert is a deliberate plan and piece of your deliverance. It's a part of the puzzle. If you do not go through trials and deserts in this life, you'll never reach deliverance, because you don't get it, you don't understand it. It's just another day, right? So I just really want to encourage everyone and spread love to everyone that it doesn't matter where you are or what you're going through. I mean, God, it appeals to everybody. I'm a student, and I'll tell you, last year and a half of my schooling was my desert of school. I just was so done with it. I was so over it. I was not passing my classes. I was ready to give up. And I was so close to my deliverance. This is my last year. I'm closer. I had to go through that desert to get here. And now I truly appreciate this gift. I get to go to school. Such a gift and such an honor and such a blessing and a privilege that I get to do that. Even though I'm married and I have kids and I have a life and all these other situations in my world, wow, what a blessing. And it would be so easy to give up, but I went through that desert. So wherever you are, whatever your desert is, just encourage you to daily, learn from it and seek it, and let it encourage you, and don't let it tear you down. Let it be a reminder that you're seeking deliverance from your desert. And I hope that encourages you. Like, it's a good word. So, you can take a man out of slavery for a moment, but it takes a lifetime to take slavery out of a man. So get started today, because it's a long haul. It's a long road. It's not going to happen overnight. So, all right. Happy Sunday, folks. Have a great one, and be safe and love somebody. Do that. Have a great one. Bye.